Hello, book friends, and welcome back to another episode of All the Things Sort of Truth, the alcohol-fueled, chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sort of Truth series with a fireplace full of craft brew on the side. Now that is a comforting thought.
Yeah, especially compared to the rest of this chapter.
Yeah, the fireplace in this chapter is it's a real shit show.
Yeah, it is.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Jade, and on this episode, we're going to be getting uncomfortable with Chapter 29 of Stone of Tears.
Very.
So this chapter, we rejoin Kaylin and Chan walking through the death town up to the palace.
The corpse castle?
Yeah, it's that. And they've made it to the doors of the palace now. So the doors have delicate shields with the Amno crest on them, and they raise some questions for me because I guess I assumed that the Amno name was passed down through the confessors because I just didn't know why they would take the name of their mates because, like, they don't really matter, right? Except bloodline.
Right. As far as we know, the fathers are just the fathers so they could have babies.
Right.
They're chosen for traits. So we know that King Wyborn's name was Amnel. That was his name, not Kaylin's mom's name.
Right.
So the confessors, we don't know if they typically take the name of the person that they're mated to or what the story is there.
Yeah, is this a special circumstance or is this a thing that happens all the time? Because it just, I don't know, doesn't make a lot of sense to me that these strong women, like the confessors, whose only family is other confessors, would not pass down a name through themselves instead of being like, yeah, I'm going to take that dude's name because he was politically awesome. That's just something to know. I forgot that that's the case. I was under the impression that this name was a confessor name. So I was kind of surprised when we got to this chapter.
Yeah.
So that surprised me. Chan is a little bit surprised when they get into the palace because there's just, like, a lot there. It's big, it's opulent, it's nothing like anything he's ever seen before.
The place is huge.
Yeah.
He was like, what the fuck could you possibly need something this big for?
Yeah.
Assuming all of the buildings in their village are very, very small, this is unlike anything he's ever seen before. In a couple of ways, actually.
Yeah, I think on a couple different levels, it's just out of the realm of anything he's ever even imagined. People building.
Well, and all the dead bodies.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
They are literally everywhere. They go into a couple rooms, and every room is filled. They get to the kitchen, and the kitchen staff from top to bottom has been slaughtered. The invaders afterwards look to have had, like, a giant feast, and they drank a lot, which, I mean, you knew they were going to drink the booze.
Yeah, you can't leave perfectly good booze just sitting around.
Yeah, they might be terrible, terrible people, but they're not stupid.
They know where the good stuff is.
They tossed food everywhere. It was a giant fucking mess. She had assumed everyone had died right away when they got in the room, and then she noticed some people in the corner, women in the corner specifically, that were not killed quite so fast. They had it drawn out a little bit, and so that drew her attention for a minute before she had enough and headed upstairs.
Chan following right the fuck behind her. She is not getting out of his sight. That is not going to happen.
Yeah, he gets a little irritated that she took it upon herself to just walk out of the room.
Yeah.
Like this is a normal fucking stroll they're taking.
I'm your escort. I'm supposed to escort you. You have to let me do my job.
I have one job.
Yeah. He also mentions taking some food, and Kaylin tells him that, the army here would have poisoned it. If anybody came back to, like, get food after this, then they die, assuming it would be people that lived there after the fact.
Yeah.
So that's out of the question. But wasn't he totally against taking anything in literally the last chapter?
Yeah, I like how quick his opinion changed on a couple things between a couple chapters and going that, like, Kaylin has definitely been, like, molding him a little bit because he went from being like, no, that's a dead person's thing, to being like, they wouldn't care, right? They're good people.
She gave him permission just the tiniest little bit in the last chapter. Now he's like, well, we can probably take that too, right?
Right. He's like testing the boundary. Like, this is what we do, right?
Yeah, we can do this now.
So they make it to the main floor. It's free of bodies because it looks like it's been used as a base. Like, the guys all hung out here and ate. So it's littered with leavings of a group like that. You know, wine barrels, food scraps, bandages, just all around gross shit everywhere. And
the leftovers.
Yeah. Chan says they were probably there for 2 or 3 days. And the two of them aren't really sure why they stayed so long. Kaylin suggests maybe they were, like, resting up, or maybe it was just because they were celebrating their win, and Chan is completely disgusted by this idea. Like, killing is not a reason to celebrate. Which I guess goes with his personality a little bit. He's a very solemn person in general. He doesn't really celebrate shit.
Yeah, he's very duty-bound. Anything he does, it's because he has to do it. It wouldn't be done and be like, fuck yeah, I am awesome. Look at all of the people that I killed. It's because he would be doing a job for the mud people.
Right.
What's also funny is that he can tell that these people have been there for a few days just based on things around the room. It does go into more detail here in a little bit, but I thought it was pretty astounding that these guys can come from where they came from. And like even Kaylin, right? They get into this room and all of this horrible shit has happened. And they're like, okay, so this happened over a period of 3 days. This happened here. This happened there. This guy went that way. And it's all just very, very Batman.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure trackers and people of that nature are a lot better at that kind of thing than people like me or you are. But to my brain, that's just so far out of something that I could muse at all.
Right.
Like, there's a fucking Oreo wrapper. He could have eaten that 2 weeks ago. I have no fucking idea.
I think had Richard done it, it wouldn't have been that shocking. You kind of expect that from him. And I mean, even these mud people, they do shit like that all the time. They track things through the woods. So maybe I'm just not giving them enough credit. They probably would know how to do this. I guess it's just the amount that they have to do. Like over a period of 3 days, little tiny markings on different things mean different things. Like they saw some swirly scratches on the top of a table and like they fucking danced on the table.
Right.
The 6 sons of bitches. Like that is a really accurate guess. We don't know for sure that that's exactly what happened, but he's making pretty narrow guesses.
Right. Well, also, I think the freezing temperature would like change that also, because I feel like maybe if it was a hot climate like what he's supposedly used to, then they could look at food and be like, oh, that food's rotting. It looks about 3 days rotted. That makes sense to me that they were,
yeah.
or something along those lines. And that doesn't really even make sense, because that wouldn't tell you how long they were there. That would tell you how long ago they left. So I don't even know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was very impressive that these guys pulled a lot of details out of their ass when they looked at this scene. And this is a very, very like traumatizing and filled scene.
Yes, I totally agree. Kaylin decided that they are done on the main floor. They're going to head upstairs to the bedroom areas to check that shit out, because even though she dreads it, she has to know everything that happened. So they check the men's quarters first in the West Wing. The West Wing, you know, like, never mind. The soldiers had taken those over. Once they had gotten through those, which happened pretty quickly because there wasn't a whole lot to see. That's just where the gross men were sleeping.
Yeah, I saw what you named the last episode, by the way.
It fit. It's not my fault. Kaylin said it, okay?
Fair enough.
They headed over to the East Wing where the women sleep, like all the maids and servants and all that. Kaylin didn't allow Chan to enter the rooms first in this part of the castle. Everywhere else, she's been like, cool, you kick the door down, you be macho man, whatever. But I think because of some respect to these people, she wasn't going to allow him to be the person who saw them first.
So it's like a dignity thing.
That's what I was kind of thinking. She knows that they're dead probably, so she's not really worried about any, like, danger. She's just trying to go in to know herself exactly what went down. So, Yeah, it kind of just seemed like a respect for the dead type thing to me. So, each of the rooms on the east side of the palace are occupied. There's naked women in each of the rooms. There's an obvious stream of men that have been in and out of these rooms. You can tell by the dirt on the carpet. So now it's pretty obvious why all the men stayed so long. They, were hanging out in just the big corpse castle of bad stuff.
It's so much worse in these terms. No, these guys had everything that they wanted right here, and they took full advantage. So Kaelin goes to enter the room where the younger of the queen's ladies-in-waiting stayed. I actually had to look that up because I wasn't sure what that meant. I thought maybe literally waiting to become a lady.
Oh.
like, I don't know the best example to put to it, but like a maid man.
Oh, yeah.
You're officially a lady now because you're some higher-up's niece or whatever, so you just get that.
You have a title.
Yeah, and they teach you how to be fancy and shit, but that's not at all what it is. It's literally the queen's, probably highest servants.
Yeah, the ones that, attend to her.
Yeah, not slaves by any means, just, her employees.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they're treated well. They have, nice rooms, sounds like, in a castle.
I think it depends on the royalty that you're serving.
Well, it seems like they were treated decent here.
Yes.
In a little while, we do get to see, Kaelin had some interaction with some of these people. And they were, happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah. She had met some of these girls when they had come to Aidendrill, before.
Right.
She saw that they were excited to be here.
Right. I had a little bit of a question because I felt like right after Kaelin became Mother Confessor was when Queen Cirilla had become queen, and they hadn't seen each other a whole lot since then. So there was a little bit of question for me on just timeline because I don't know how long it had been since they had both seen each other the last time. Has it been 5 years? Because these girls seem to be rather young, and Kaelin saw them at the Capitol. So the attempted assassination by Dreffin, I wasn't sure when that happened.
Well, that's got to be pre-Seeker era, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. That's all I think we really can know about it right now. I don't think there's a way to specifically get how long ago it was.
Yeah. It was just something I was curious about how long Kaelin's actually been the Mother Confessor, because it kind of seems like it hasn't actually been that long of a period of time.
I think overall, no. I could throw a general guess. I don't know, maybe 5 years or so.
Okay.
She's been it for a little while, and the last year or so she's been with Richard, give or take. I'm sure I can get a more accurate number, but yeah, something to that effect. I think what caused her to become the Mother Confessor did not happen that long ago. That long before even we met Richard.
Right. She was Mother Confessor long enough, though, that things were kind of normal for a minute. So it wasn't a year total so far. Okay.
She had fallen into the groove of her job, and she, had regulars, sounds like. She knew the Mud People by name.
Oh, yeah.
So, been doing it for a minute, but she's not that old to begin with.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, she's definitely old enough to have a beer.
Absolutely.
So I think it's time to celebrate that with the beer break.
Sure. Tonight we have Clear Coast Fresh Hard Seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, these things are growing on me. I enjoy them a lot. This one is Orange Passion, 5% from Perrin.
Honestly, I think Perrin's... No, I don't think their originals were as good as these ones. These are their, spring special pack or whatever, but they're really fucking good. I think they're better than a lot of the other seltzers that I've had.
Yeah, there's a lot of flavor in these, and I think that makes them stand apart just a little bit. A lot of the other ones, it's you're drinking flavored water, and this is closer to a juice, which I know the first couple of ones we tried were less like a juice, although I still haven't had a chance to try the actual flavor that was recommended to us. So that will be happening. But yeah, this has much more flavor in it, and I like that.
I'm going to give it a little shout out to the pineapple papaya flavor in this pack because it was my favorite and it was amazing.